Good morning, Ray here, not that one. Well, it's Saturday again. Yeah. It's been yeah, we had quite a lot of rain this morning, so but it's nice and cool, so this means yeah, it's a lot nicer working, and I'm getting on really well actually this morning. So I did a bit more last night. Fitted this one here in the middle, and as you can see, I'm now fitting the last planks on this side up to the inner gunnel height. So I've done this little one that end, so I've then got the one in the middle to do. So I'm just going to do that on that side, and I've had a busy morning. The rain was pretty persistent, but then it did stop raining, so I very quickly got my table saw and planer out, and I was able to rip down enough cedar planking now to finish completely. And I've had to have a slight change here, which I'll probably go through in a bit. I can force these together, but in doing so, they tended to bulge out, and no matter how much I wet them and steamed them, that I couldn't stop that from happening. So what I've done now is I've actually ripped down some more of this, which is a bit wider. So I shall just cut these here, and I'll replace these with slightly wider ones, which I can taper to fill in these gaps. So if anyone is following along, I've seen a lot of people struggle with this stage. I've seen one guy, he put little slivers of wood in between each one and all manner of things, but I didn't fancy that idea. So I've just made some wider planks, and I mean, you won't notice it clearly, but that's how I'm going to get over that issue. But I will show you that when the time comes. At the moment, I'm just trying to get these sides done because that's quite exciting to have it done at the top. Lovely. You can see I've relieved that around the gunwales now, and so that's nice. I am going to have to put one more cant rib in here. I was hoping to get away with that, but I think that's just too big a span, so I'm gonna put another one in, which means I will have to thin it down at the top, because otherwise that will affect this taper here. Again, I'll show you that a bit more in due course. So yeah, so that's that bit done. I will just show you what else I did while I had the saw out. Just, whilst I had the saw and the planer out, and expecting it to start to rain again at some point, I thought I'd prepare the timber for the decks. So what we've got now is I've got a section here of ash, this is about the same width as the end of the stem, and then I'm going to sandwich that with two pieces of American black walnut, like so. And then we're going to have the cedar on the side of that. So obviously this has got to be cut down, and there'll be a piece either side, clearly. But that's what we'll be looking at decks wise. So by the time we get another piece of that here, and that's all been cut to shape, I think that'll be quite effective. And I've book matched the American black walnut just because I can, and it'll just give it a little bit more of a interest. So yeah, so that's all done as well. So I'm quite pleased about that, because if this keeps going really well, I might get all the planking done, and I might be able to get the decks glued up, and tomorrow start getting them cut and shaped, and who knows, we might even have some decks in as well, so that'll be bloody marvellous. So that's my plan, so I will crack on. Somebody asked me this morning whether I was missing going out on my canoe trips, you know, instead of being at home building a new canoe. And I said, no, funnily enough, because I've got a canoe, I've got a tarp, it's chundering down the rain. What is not to miss? What else would I be doing? I'll be with a canoe, I'll be under a tarp. So yeah, I'm really loving camping. And the bonus is the kettle's really close. I can go in and knock up a bit of grub whenever I fancy it. So yeah, this is absolutely marvellous. And I'm getting on really well. So because it's cooler and I've got what seems to be like more energy. Now I have turned the canoe round, so the other side is now fully planked. It's planked all the way up to the inner. It's full to the gunwales. Wonder where that saying came from. It is planked right up to the gunwale, all the way along in its entirety on that other side. So I spun it round, and I'm now doing this side. So I had a nasty little split here, so I've just replaced that little section. Doesn't really matter with these because obviously because of the ribs, you know, you can't see the joint. I'm now fitting in this section here. Just got to trim it at the front now and get that bit done. I've already done the section at the back, which is there. So that leaves the one long plank through the midships now, and then the little end bits and the one more bit across the top. And this will be done as well. So I've still got the ends to sort out, but what I want to do is I want to get this filled up here. I want to trim all these off flush with the inner gunnels, and then I can think what I'll probably do then is I'll spin the canoe over and lie it on these so it's upside down again, and it may be a bit easier to do that work at the front in that position. So that's my current thinking anyway. So it looks like I made the right decision to stop and cut on my wood earlier today when we had a brief interlude in the rain. So yeah, happy days. Ah, hello. Right, well, we're progressing along. I'm now cutting off the overhang on the ribs. So I'm cutting that down flush now with the inner gunwale. And I'm going to do that on both sides. And then this first plank needs to be trimmed down. I think I've already said that, about 8mm below this level. So I'll have to make a little jig to mark that, and then cut that carefully with a knife. So yeah, can't believe it. Actually, the whole canoe is now planked in. Yeah, I know. Unbelievable. 5:45 Saturday evening. And yeah, it's been a good day. So been a very good day. So I'm going to carry on doing this, I think, and then I might knock it on the head. But look at that, this is looking wonderful, isn't it? Absolutely. Let me just try and get a better view there. I mean, yeah. Yes, I am well chuffed with the shape and the look of it in general. Yeah, really nice actually. Really nice. There's still a few things just to top and tail, but I'm looking forward to getting in there and paddling this along. It's going to be bloody marvellous, hopefully. So yeah, so that's where we're at. So I'm going to do a little bit more, and then tomorrow I'm going to have to put in another rib each side here, each end, just to hold these a bit better. And yeah, I think what I'm going to do before I pack up for the day, yeah, I think actually I might just nip a few of these off, and then I think I might just glue up the timber for the decks, because if that's glued up, then that means tomorrow, once I've done everything else, if there's any time left, I can start doing the decks, and then we're really getting somewhere. So yes, marvellous. Right, okay guys, well that's my plan, so I will see you tomorrow. Hello there, there's a quick Sunday evening update. It's now 5:30 and I've been on the canoe most of the day again. As you can see now, I've finished all the planking on the ends here. So what I've done is, these are the original bits, and I've fitted in a wider piece here. So where that had a gap before, these all scrunched up, but that one is a wider piece, which it's just filled that gap. And I've done similar on all these sides as well. So we've got a wider one here, those two moved up. That's a new plank, which was had to be done anyway. So I'll just remove the bottom ones because I want to put another rib in there. So I've removed them just to make the whole operation easier. But it's more or less the same this end. So yeah, so they're all done now. We're all planked up to the gunwales, which I had last night. I've now marked, I've put a mark along here, and I'm now trimming off the boards about 3/8 of an inch down, or between 8 and 10 mil down from the top. So this is where the canvas will end, and then the outer gunwale will be rebutted, and that will fit over this. So that's all on. What else have I done today? I've been looking at the decks. So the decks are there, all glued up, and I've done a template, and I've just marked those out on there, and been just having a look at it, ready, planning how I'm going to do that, because they've got to be curved, so that's going to be a little tricky. Yeah, and that's about it actually. To show for my day's work, but it is looking pretty good. So it's been quite wet here today, and luckily I've been invited out with some friends in the village, invited me around to have a bite to eat, and them in a barbecue, so it'd be rude not to go. So I'm going to get myself sorted out and scoot off there. So I will chat to you during the week. Bye. Hello. It's Thursday evening, and as you can see, I'm still in the process of fitting these stem pieces. Everything's in bleeding away. So, right. Obviously, as the inside the canoe gets narrower and narrower, it makes it a lot harder to get a big bit of metal in there. So I'm having to resort to smaller bits of metal as well. Right, needs a bit of a force down there. I cut all these last night and shaped them, and they were, looking perfect, but I've had them soaking all day, and I'll now steam them with the iron just to try and get them where I want them. So I think it was Sunday last time I did a video, so I've been a bit lax this week, one way and another. I've had several other things on the go, work-wise, and it's also a small matter of trying to start to dedicate some time towards getting things ready for my holiday. So I've been doing a bit of everything this week, one way and another. And the pressure's off a little bit because I've had, just lift it up, I've been researching about the canvas for the canoe, and I thought I'd found something perfect, but the more I read about it, the less unsure I was. It's quite important to make sure we've got the right stuff, so I've been trying to sort that out as well. So a lot of my time has been spent searching the internet, looking for that kind of information. Now I think I actually rang somebody up today who's already built one, and he's told me where he got it from, so I'm just waiting for him to come back with me because there's about 100 different choices, which is why it's so tricky. It's from what the weight the canvas is to whether it's treated or not. Yeah, there's a whole load of things, and obviously that's a fairly important area, so I don't want to just rush out and get the wrong stuff, because that would be a disaster, because if that fails then we're, back to the drawing board, as it were. so that's slowing me down a bit, but I had quite a bit of trimming off to do, because when I left on Sunday I was on my way out to see some friends, so I think Monday night I trimmed off all the planking where it goes up to the inner gunwale. So that was one night done. You'll see when I bring them out, I've done some work on the decks. They've been completely, that's supple now and hot. Sorry, let me just, I'm not using the tacks going into the stem for various reasons. Number one is they don't like going into the ash very much. They're finding it a bit hard, so they're tending to bend over. The other thing is, because I'm supposed to cinch them, so when they go in, you cinch the back of them with this is what that big hammerhead is for, and that stops them pulling out. So clearly, if you're putting them just into this stem, there's no way they're going to be cinched, which means there's a fairly high likelihood that they may pop out. And again, if they pop out, that's another disaster, because you've basically got a nail head which is going to damage the canvas. So that's to be avoided as well. So for that reason, I'm using the same nails that I did to fix the ribs to the inner gunwale. And these are brass, but they're ring shank. Can you see? That's got little ribs all the way down the nail. So once they go in, it's very difficult for them to come back out again. I'm pre-drilling them, you know, otherwise they won't go in. But ash is so hard they'll just buckle. So must pre-drill them. So as you can see, I'm now getting down to the front here now. I don't think that's going to go anywhere. We'll just put one in here. So I'm not going all the way in because depending on where I am, the stem, if I'm going crosswise, the stem isn't necessarily that wide, so I just want to shorten them so they don't go, you know, come out the other side. So right, all I've got to do now is just force this down to meet, and then I think we're just about there. So yeah, everything else I'd already done. So another job I did, I think I prepared them, but I wanted to put some extra cant ribs in the front here. I did mention it. I prepared these on Tuesday, I believe, and then no, I prepared them Monday. I steamed them Tuesday, and I fitted them Tuesday night. Yes, so they were in, and then last night I was mainly doing the decks. You'll see them. I have got quite a curve on them now, but until these are trimmed off and finished here, I can't actually offer the decks up. So I'm going to crack on the other end, and then we'll have another look a bit later on. So I'm now just trimming off the stem area now. Standing knife, as you can see. Everything will start to be exposed tonight. So when it comes to putting the canvas on, that will be probably cut up to about here, and then one half folded over and nailed, and the other half folded over and nailed on top. So this needs to be trimmed right down to the stem in order for that to happen. To enable that to happen, I should say. So I'm just going to shave off a bit of it now. So like I said, it's Thursday, so I'm going to be going indoors soon and editing a video. So it looks like it's going to be a bit of a short video this week, I'm afraid. But you know, can't have a 45-minute video every week. Perfect opportunity to catch up with some of my back catalogue. Right, so I'm just giving this just a sniff it for now. That'll do, and that'll come all the way up to about here somewhere, just so we can see that stem. Right, I think we'll say that's near enough for now. So this end's all done, it's all nailed. So I've got to spend a bit of time just going with a hammer, making sure everything is clinched. Because I'm not doing the canvas this weekend, I've got oodles of time. I've got a vehicle to MOT on Saturday, but other than that, I'm going to be on this. So yeah, clinch all the nails, make sure they're done, and I'm going to start sanding all the outside down, giving it a really good check over. Make sure there's no proud nails, yeah, all that kind of good stuff. And I shall then probably just do a bit of sanding on the ribs on the inside as well, where obviously they've been steamed since I sanded them before, so they'll just need tidying up a bit. Yeah, and I'll just get everything ready that I can. So I'm hoping to order the canvas possibly tomorrow, and then I guess I'll take a few days to get here, but that should be here midweek, all being well. So I've then got to make all the clamps and kit to fit the canvas basically. So there's a special tool I need to come up with something to grip and tension the canvas. That's I need the clamps. I need some ropes to try and pull it, because the canvas has got to be pulled incredibly tight. So you'll see all of that when I come to do it anyway. But there's a bit of groundwork to be done, so I should be doing that. And yeah, gearing up for next weekend. Yeah, the weather needs to play ball, because I will be doing it outside. Come over to my dad's place. He's got some trees which are quite conveniently located. Hopefully strong enough to tension the canvas on. And I've also got I've got oil the outside as well, and that needs to dry before the canvas can go on. So that's probably the most important thing actually. But outside in the air, it should dry quite quick. So that's that. Right, I'm going to turn off. I'll move the camera in a minute, and I'll show you the decks. Right, this is what I've done so far with the decks. So let's get a nice view of that. So I've sanded it down, and I have given it a fair. Is that lined up? You can see that's got a fair curve on it already. So it's early days. So this has to be dished out a lot more to fit. And I've done a little underneath, but not too much. So as soon as I got the canoe over the other way again, I can then offer these up and start to plane these, and start getting them to fit basically. And I'll keep working on this curve until they're perfect. So yeah, that's the plan. Okay, well it's still Thursday night. I was then about to close everything down, and I then realised that I haven't actually shown you guys the inside of the canoe. Not since it's all been trimmed, and all the you can see now all the ribs have been cut down, the sides been cut down. I've just wedged that deck there temporarily just to give you an idea what she might look like. Still got to go up a long ways yet, but a fair bit of trimming to be done. So yeah, so that's the canoe as she is right now. So it's, yeah, like I said, now it is pretty close, tops and tails. Got all weekend to fiddle around and get the whole sanded down. So yeah, that's going to be a good position to be in. So I'm going to leave you with that, and I might just take a picture of my phone actually, because this camera isn't doing the canoe justice, I don't think. These funny little bits here are still just there to tension the string to hold its shape, just in case you were wondering.